when I moved here and became a meeting planner, everybody was like, oh my God, this is one of the toughest jobs, most stressful jobs in the
Which,
world.
statistically speaking, by the way, they have done studies that says that meeting planning is one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
But you know why?
Why?
Because people have a wrong perspective on the job.
Tell me more.
Unhospitality, the #1 podcast in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Unhospitality. I'm Jeremy. I'm your host. We are the #1 podcast in the world, and I am thrilled for this full circle moment to welcome my dear friend, Andrea Puizina, who, well, will tell the story, has a very elemental and instrumental part in the birth of this podcast. Andrea, welcome to Unhospitality.
Thank you so much. I cannot say and express how honored I am to be here. Really, I cannot believe this is actually happening.
You're exaggerating a little bit. It's not that much of an honor, but I'm very glad you're finally here. So let's talk about the fact that how did this podcast come to being? Why don't you share the story yourself?
Wasn't it like on the other side of the world in
It
a
was.
bar?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was it like 2023, I believe?
2023.
I was working for a group, a hotel group,
Mhm.
and I think you, Gary, and some other people were on a fam trip with me, I think in Budapest.
That's right.
And we were just chatting about all the possibilities, and then you two come up with the idea of a podcast.
It actually wasn't us. I'll tell you what happened. It was the first night I met Gary.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, I mentioned him before. Gary was my original partner in this podcast. And for various life circumstances and the ways that business has taken us, we still remain very good friends, but the podcast just wasn't in the cards for us to do it together. But that was the night that I met him. And I met him at a party that you were hosting. It's a tour of hotels around Budapest on our way to a trade show. And that very night, someone in the group turned to us and said, you guys have some good chemistry together. And we were kind of vibing it. He became an instant
Yeah, you're
friend.
like a bromance, immediate bromance.
The minute we
you
met,
know?
exactly, right? And they said, your chemistry is so good, you guys should do a podcast together. And I said,
Huh.
okay. Unhospitality was born. And we actually got so far deep down into like the weeds of launching it. And then at the last minute, his job was about to change and he had to back out and put it on pause. Here we are all these years later. Anyway, Gary, shout out. We love you, brother.
Yeah, we love you. We miss you. Bye.
But now let's talk about you. You have been in hospitality for how many years now?
Jesus, I'm so young, but with so much experience, I don't know what to say right now. It's been, I think, more or less 20 years.
20 years. Wow. No one would believe you.
I know. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm 18. You know.
There you go. There you go. How did you start? Where was your first hospitality job?
So it's a little bit, it's not complicated. It's just a long story that I'm going to shorten. So first of all, I was born in a country that doesn't exist. So the country's name was Yugoslavia, and I was born in 19... really interesting year. Yeah, really interesting year. Great grapes, for good wine, right? So I was born in Yugoslavia. Then we had the war several years later, and the country that I am citizen of, and of course where my birth city is Croatia. So I was born in Split, Croatia. That was part of ex-Yugoslavia, right?
Yeah.
And when I was 18, I was really curious. I really wanted to travel the world. I always felt that I'm Italian. I was like, when I do, these DNA tests, it's going to be like 100% Italian. I am that, That, by the way, happened. I did do the test.
And?
Zero.
0%
Yeah.
Italian.
It's sad to say, but I'm apparently from Northern Europe.
Okay.
Also some part of Georgia, some part of Finland, some part of Iceland.
Quite the mix.
So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. I dig that. But Italian, zero.
Uh-huh.
Nonetheless, I really wanted to move there. So I wanted to go to university. So I moved there to do my university.
What city in Italy?
Roma.
Uh-huh.
I am, and if somebody is from Rome and listening to this, and if somebody knows what I'm saying, they're going to laugh, because I am Croata de Roma, non Coata de Roma. It's different, right? So I love Rome. I lived there 15 years. I finished my university. I did my master's in mass communication.
Wonderful.
The whole plan was for me to become a journalist.
Okay.
that, of course,
And here
did
we are.
not go well.
Naturally led you into a path of hospitality.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
Yeah. But fun stuff is how I actually got into this industry. So after my university, you're young, you want to do things, you want to try and see how everything is. And then one day, I actually started to work for a meeting planning agency in Rome. I was there for like a couple of months, and one of my colleagues used to be a hostess on very big events in the city. So she calls me, she goes, listen, I really cannot go. There's going to be Valentino's, the designer, Valentino's 50 years of fashion, and it's going to be his amazing, humongous fashion show. I really cannot go, but they need somebody. And one of the five-star hotels in Rome that is going to be taking care of the VIPs that are staying at the hotel, right?
Okay.
Would you mind going? Because it's a like 3-4 day gig and they're going to give you a Valentino dress. And I'm like, say no more. It's fine.
Exactly.
Like, I'm done. But we couldn't keep the dress. So just,
Oh, that's a
I know.
bummer. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But hey, I went to this hotel, and this is a beautiful 5-star luxury hotel in the city center of Rome. Very boutique-ish, around 116, I think 120 rooms. Beautiful. So
That
I get
captures the
there.
magic of Rome.
Yes, and it's literally, it's on Piazza del Popolo. It's like the best of the best.
Amazing.
So basically I started there. They gave me my fantastic dress. They told me what I need to do. And all of a sudden, like, I see Sarah Jessica Parker, I see George Clooney, and I'm like, oh, that is gonna be fun.
This is going to be a fun night.
So I was, I like to talk a lot. And I actually love people.
That's why I like to have you on this podcast, Andrea.
Thank you.
Talk more.
Thank you. So I love people, and I love meeting people from all over the world. And I have, I'm very outgoing, I would say. So I have zero shame. So I literally want to talk to everybody.
Good for you.
And, all these celebrities were fantastic, and everybody was so nice to me, and it was fantastic. It was fabulous. Yes. And then the GM, an amazing woman who I absolutely adore, Elena Bruno, who is now director of sales at the Bulgari Hotel in Rome.
Hey, Elena.
My mentor, love you, Elena, forever, opened the world to me.
Amazing.
And said, listen, you're good. Work for us. And I'm like, oh, but I just started a job. So she was like, no, this is for you.
Wow.
So basically, I started as a guest relations manager for this hotel.
Amazing.
And it just literally, it was a catapulta, on the other side, and tried to understand how everything works. And I spent there almost a year and so.
Okay.
And I learned so much.
Tell me more. It was Elena's influence, or what was
it? Was.
Mm-hmm.
It was. First of all, it was definitely her influence. And then I actually landed in the best possible hotel to learn what real hospitality is. So
why?
The quality of service,
Okay.
the attention to detail, the best of the best. I mean, their tea experience, there's so many things I've learned. There was like so many fun facts. I also am very detail oriented, right? And there was one time we had a very, very important American lawyer staying at a hotel that did not bring with him his Listerine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So first of all,
it's a very diplomatic way to say what you just said. Yeah, well done.
But it was like, he was like, oh dear God, I forgot Listerine. And I'm like, okay. So first of all, I had no idea what Listerine was.
Okay.
Because in Italy we were like, what?
But I guess what I picked up that you could tell that he needed Listerine. Was that the case, or he just yeah?
I will leave that to your interpretation.
Okay, that's where I was going with that. Okay, so at least he recognized the problem and he was trying to solve it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But then, he was staying with the hotel for several, already he stayed at the hotel several times, he loved the property. And, I was like, let me see, how can we get more business out of him? So what I do, I go, guys, we need to find Listerine. And they were like, what the hell is Listerine? So we literally went all over the place. We were able to find Listerine in Florence.
Okay. In Florence from Rome. But I'm assuming you called. You didn't actually go.
Yeah, of course. No.
Okay.
We didn't go. We called and said, we found Listerine.
Yeah.
So we left it in a room. I left a note. Like, you can always get everything here. And I can tell you, my friend, that he was beyond shocked. Continued coming to us. We had the corporate rate with him. His mother stayed with us. I mean, it was incredible. So, attention to detail, definitely some of the things that I am good at in getting business.
Who would have thought that a bottle of Listerine would earn you
Like
repeat
five
business?
bucks,
Yeah,
5 bucks or
5 bucks
something like
of
that.
Listerine
Yeah,
earns you a client for a
yeah.
lifetime. That's
And
amazing.
I always said this story because it's like it is so important to be like attentive to people when people pay, in luxury, right? They want to have something different. They don't want to just a bed and, a nice room. That's the minimum, right? What you get. They want really to feel pampered. They want to feel unique. They want to feel that they're the only guest at the hotel. So that's what,
They
what
wanna
we
feel
should
like
try to do.
someone's paying attention to them, right?
Correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So from there, you're at this hotel, a unique boutique hotel in the middle of Rome, and you're only in guest services at this point. You're kind of the point
Yes.
person for the guests whenever they need something. You eventually make your way into sales. Is that right? Or what's the path
So
from
what
there?
happened? Yeah, it's a long path.
Okay.
So after that, one of the very high-paying clients of that hotel actually decides to partner with one of the count, because Rome has a lot of counts and
Okay.
countesses and nobles, right?
Okay.
So they decided to partner and open small luxury boutique hotels in the city center of Rome. And they asked me if I wanted to join,
Nice.
and of course, absolutely. So
Did
I
you
stayed with them.
negotiate the terms you had to be called countess, or was that not part of the deal?
And that wasn't part of the deal.
Missed opportunity
Shoot,
there,
now I
Andrea.
missed the opportunity. I should have, thought about that, earlier. But well, that being said, I joined them, and these beautiful small hotels, like with beautiful room suites and butler service, and it was amazing. It was a fantastic time. It was great.
Like, would you compare it, say, like, it was a step above where you were, even higher service, equal?
It was a completely different beast.
Okay.
Like you go from an established hotel,
Mhm.
like really, really luxury, to something very small, like
Mhm.
boutique
Got it.
hotels with butler service that also gives an amazing service. We also had mobile phones for clients that
Okay.
had direct contact with the butler. It was all really, really nicely set up,
Nice.
but it was a completely different beast. So two different things. And then at the certain point, the operations director from the first hotel decided to move to another company, and they were opening a five-star luxury hotel in Rome. So he was like, "Do you want to join?" And I'm like,
Kept getting dragged along to
"Why
these
not?" Yeah,
wonderful places and
I actually,
opportunities.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I think about it, like I never, well, only once in my life I actually looked for a job,
Amazing.
which is great. I feel extremely lucky.
Well, you say lucky, but I don't know. It sounds like when you show up and do your job the way you do, you automatically attract opportunities. Would that be a fair way to put that?
Yeah, I think I also, I'm also very positive. And I always think everything that I want is gonna happen.
You put it out there in the
I
universe.
yeah,
Good for you.
because, as I mentioned, I come from a situation that wasn't that good in the 90s where I was born. It was a very, sad period of growing up in a war environment, and you learned a lot of things, and,
You were
you
directly
learn
impacted by that, though. Talk a little bit more about
yeah.
that. Like, what was your day-to-day life? How not to delve too deep into dark times, but I'm sure there's a lot of trauma around your upbringing. How
But
how did you
it's
keep your head on straight, and what was your mentality?
You know, when you live in situations like that, you don't actually realize that you are living in a trauma, in a situation that is traumatic. I mean, there is a war going on, but it's like it's your life. It's a day by day. It's
It just
it's
becomes the natural part of your
yes, because you
your
don't know
experience.
anything else. You cannot compare it to something and say, "Hey, listen, oh my God, this is not a good way to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning because the sirens are there, the planes are around. You have to go to the shelter downstairs. You have to survive, right? So it's kind of and I must admit there were a lot of people in much worse situation than I was, and I realized today that I kind of cannot or don't wanna, like, a whole thing, talk about it because anything that I say it's not going to reflect the reality of the situation.
How harsh it was.
Yes, from so many points of view,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it like losing friends, people get, because depending on which nationality you were, people would just leave. They would go, some would go to Bosnia, some would go to Serbia. Like, so many people in my life, disappeared in 48 hours, at school. And everything was a roller coaster. Every day was something new.
Yeah.
So it taught me a lot. You become a little bit hard,
Sure.
not only on yourself, but on everything else. And the things that some people find hard, you find comical,
Like in today's, like now with that perspective on your life, people are complaining about XYZ thing that's, their
Yes,
designer shoe didn't come in. You're kind of like, come on,
exactly,
man. Let's put it in
exactly.
perspective.
And about everything,
Yeah.
I really, um, I am very, very positive. I really try to keep it like, there's no day that I can wake up and I say, oh, I feel horrible. I'm going to say I'm tired, but I still feel great. You know what I mean? Nothing is wrong. I am healthy, thank God, or the universe, or whatever you believe in, right? I have a fantastic husband. I have great dogs, I I I love life. There's nothing wrong. What, a report? Something it's gonna make me angry, or like, no, I don't have time for that.
Good for you.
So totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Totally different vibe.
Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing to keep that perspective. I mean, even, years later, sometimes it's easier to kind of get lost in the hustle and bustle of life and lose that perspective, but to keep carrying it through that lesson that you took on from a very young age, that look, I'm 6 feet above ground and not 6 feet below. That's all I need right now,
But the thing is, unfortunately, life always brought me back to, if I wanted to kind of relax and not think about how difficult life is, there was always something to pull me back. So,
In the context of your upbringing in your country,
yeah,
or where, what do you
no,
mean?
well, I lost my parents year and a half ago,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
and I lost my parents within 24 hours.
One passed away 24 hours after the other.
Yes, and from two different things in two different places. So when something like that happens, it like what brings you back, to say, there's the life and work, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
How
It's
have
really
you
nothing.
talk about how specifically towards hospitality, we're talking about not getting upset about reports or being thrown off of, deadlines and things like that that could stress everyone. I'm sure you feel a certain amount of stress, but it doesn't throw off your core sense of happiness and who
Oh,
you are.
absolutely not.
Talk a
No,
little
no.
bit more about how you translate some of your upbringing, some of your learning into how you approach hospitality.
So I didn't finish the whole story at the beginning,
Yeah, go.
meaning that last after Italy, I ended up in Uganda because
Wow.
one of the clients of that hotel that I was opening actually bought a property in Uganda, didn't know what to do with it. So I helped him kind of restructure it, right? And marketing and sales wise. And after that, I moved to Dominican Republic for 2 years to work for another company where, I worked with big resorts, so I could understand that part. And so before moving to New York, I already had all the experiences with hotels, meaning a hotel, a boutique hotel, a resort, city, beach, everything, right?
Leisure guest, convention guest, a little bit of
Correct.
everything. Yeah.
Whatever. And then when I moved to New York, I became a client because I got to New York because an Italian meeting planning company wanted to just launch the brand new open office. And I joined them because they needed somebody who spoke Italian, who was Italian, who knew how to bridge cultural gaps and make, smooth business.
Let me pause you right there. One of the common themes that is constantly coming up on this podcast, and we're 11 episodes in, 12 episodes in, the idea that the reading a culture, being able to bridge a gap between one culture and another, I think it becomes an integral part of who we become in hospitality, because you're not talking to people who look like you. Many times you're talking to people from far flung places in the world. You have to be able to adapt and learn how to speak in their language, literally speak in their language as you have done speaking in Italian, but speak their understand them in how they're showing up and presenting themselves. So
So that's the most important part.
yeah,
Like cultural differences makes us better.
1,000%. Say that again. Say that again.
Cultural differences make us better. as a human beings. You grow by being open-minded, speaking to everybody, and genuinely wanted to understand others. So that's the most important thing. The reason why I really enjoy foreign languages, the reason why I love, to understand people when I walk around. If I go to Latin America, I speak Spanish, so I can understand people and understand exactly what they want to tell me without, using another language to translate it, and kind of it loses sense, right? I can speak Italian, I can speak Croatian, and I can understand all the Balkans because everybody says, oh, these are different languages. No. Serbians, Bosnians, Montenegrins, and Croatians speak the same language.
Interesting.
We can understand very well Bulgarian.
Yeah.
We can understand Russian. So because it's a Slavic root. I also, besides English, of course, Spanish, Croatian, and Italian, I studied French. So, and I'm committed because now the company that I work for is French.
There you go.
So I need to now,
Coming full circle again.
full circle. So going back to your original question, like how everything that I lived translates into hospitality is like when I moved here and became a meeting planner, everybody was like, oh my God, this is one of the toughest jobs, most stressful jobs in the world.
Which, statistically speaking, by the way, they have done studies that says that
Yep.
meeting planning is one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
But you know why?
Why?
Because people have a wrong perspective on the job.
Tell me more. Go ahead.
So I always see things from like a very relaxed point of view, right? So if you're a meeting planner, you have large groups, you have to organize everything, right? We're talking about from A to Z, hotels and meetings and rooming lists.
Lots of logistics.
Lots of logistics, right?
Yeah.
But it depends how you live it. If you live it as, oh my God, oh Jesus, oh again the client, it's never going to work. But if you live it like, oh my God, let's do this. Let's see how many people I can get. Let's see these changes. Let's make sure everybody has the correct room. Let's make this experience amazing. Let's have them have the best meals. Let's have them the best meetings and think they're going to learn that it's going to be amazing. So if you see it from that perspective, it's not going to be hard.
It's not that you have to help with the meeting. It's that you get to help with the meeting, that you can produce a fantastic event.
That's the whole point. So it shouldn't be that difficult. I would understand. And of course, I always say, this is not, we're not doing heart surgery. That is a huge responsibility.
Sure.
Nonetheless, creating a meeting and you're moving hundreds of people, it is a huge responsibility
And hundreds of
as well.
thousands of dollars.
Of course,
there's
it's
a lot
of money.
Lots at stake.
Of course.
Sure.
But if you see it as, I'm actually going to create memories with this. I'm going to make these people better. I'm going to make them feel better. They're going to see a new place. They're going to experience something else. I am the reason that they're going to feel something different about this hotel, about this place, about this country, about this city, whatever. It's because of me,
It's inspiring. I hear you talking.
Exactly.
I'm getting chills over here. That's
I know. I'm a chill person. But you know what I mean?
Of course.
It's and it becomes really fun and it becomes interesting and you actually start enjoying it.
It's all about perspective.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So you're in the city. I know you've had a few jobs here, bopping around the different hotels. Tell me about your experience, how the collective experiences between Rome, Uganda, Dominican Republic. Tell me more about your experience here in the city.
So I was fortunate. Like I've been in a city for 11, almost 12 years. And I was a client for a very long time. I was 7 years a client.
Yeah, that's right.
Then,
we didn't make that jump. You started here as a client and then you went back to hotels. Talk about that.
Because unfortunately, COVID happened. The pandemic changed so many things. The office that was here, from the meeting planning company did not survive.
Okay.
So I needed to make a decision. Do I really want to continue being a meeting planner or I want to go back to the origins, right?
Yeah.
And go on the hotel
Where
side.
it all started. Yeah.
But, I love to have I actually figured out that I love to have a product. When you're a meeting planner, you are inventing products every time.
What do you mean you're inventing products? Like you're
creating something for the client. So you're creating packages, you're creating experiences. Here, I choose to have one product and I need to find the best way to sell that product.
Yeah.
So it's not every time selling different things because when you're, organizing international meetings, the client goes, oh, take me to Europe. And you go, there are 44 countries in Europe. where do you want to go?
Yeah.
It's not
You have an open palette there to paint on. Yeah.
correct. And you can maybe source 5 countries.
Sure.
And because you think that, after a conversation with a client, you think that south of Europe could actually work.
Sure.
And then they come, no, no, I decided we want to go to Finland. And you're like, oh, great. I just spent 80 hours working on your proposals.
Sure.
Here, you have clients that come inquiring about the hotel. Now you need to tune with the client and find the best way to sell your property for what they want, right?
Pause there a little bit and speak more about that selling approach. I think that's for any seller out there or any person who's working in hotel sales. How do you go about that? Because I've been on site visits before. You start to feature dump. Oh, we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. Or like, did this person pay attention to anything I said? Because we don't need 90% of those things. We're here for this particular meeting space, or we're here for anything. Talk a little bit more about how you go about uncovering, and how do you tailor specifically to a client?
And this goes back to the same thing, attention to detail. First of all, I saw a lot of salespeople during my career that have that standard. Like, okay, so the site inspection is going to start from the lobby. And if we are on the other side of the hotel, we still need to go to the lobby because I want the site inspection to start from here. I'm going to give my spiel. I'm going to tell them everything that we have. But you're actually not even asking the client, what is it that they're looking for? What is something that the client is kind of really going to pay attention
Yeah.
to? Is it going to be to have a great bar because they want to, drink at night? They want to have nightcaps after? Is it that an important part? Is it a gym an important part? Like, what is important for them?
Sure.
So you start with that. You don't have to tell them 5,000 things that they're not going to use. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's irrelevant. It's just going to bore them because every client that goes on a site inspection is not going to just see you. He's going to see other 7, 8 hotels per day. And if you don't have something different and you don't have a different approach, they will never going to remember you.
Facts.
100%.
Facts.
Nobody cares if you spend $70,000 million on a meeting space. Nobody knows nobody's going to remember the square feet that you have. They're going to remember if they can fit their group or they cannot fit their group. Basta. Very simple. So just give them the information that they need so they can fast go through all the list of the hotels and keep you,
On
as
the list.
possible.
Mhm. But then from there also standing apart. So you convinced me now that my meeting can fit here. What do you do to stand apart?
Everything that you can offer. What is different? What is it that the client is looking
Great
for?
way to answer
So
that.
of course, I can tailor everything based on the client's interest, right? And if we are flexible, and this is what actually a good salesperson needs to be flexible.
Yeah.
Then you can. There's a very small margin of not closing the business. Of course, if the rate is something that the client, then of course, depending on the hotel, if the client can afford it.
Sure. Here on Unhospitality, talking about the untold stories of hospitality, I can only imagine
Mhm.
on your travels through the world, not only on the client side, but from hotels, what comes to mind when you think, I can't believe I just saw what I saw. I can't believe that just happened. Where does your mind go when you hear that question?
Oh God,
Now, keep in mind,
cannot.
we only have 3 hours left, so keep the
I keep it.
exactly.
Okay, great. Of course, not mentioning countries and hotels, so we can keep it vague.
Keep yourself employed.
Yes,
No
yes,
need, no need to
exactly.
get anyone
Yeah.
called out here.
I'll never forget one time that I actually, I arrived to the hotel that I needed to sell,
This is when you're on the
and
hotel side. This is when
on the
you're
hotel
okay.
side, on the hotel side, and I wake up in the morning and it's a beautiful day, it's sunny, and so I open my window and everything looks beautiful. The nature is fabulous, and I'm enjoying it, and then I look down and I see sheets on the ground. I'm very it's a little bit confusing because it's not just 1, 2, it's like it's a
Looks
lot.
like it has snowed sheets out in the lawn.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they're all like placed well, so all of a sudden you see a little cat walking on them,
This wasn't a haphazard event where some sheets fell off the back of a laundry truck or something.
Yeah, they were too precise,
Yeah.
they were on them.
Yeah.
So I go downstairs and I'm like, "But can somebody tell me, what is happening in the backyard?" And they're like, "Oh, no, we're drying sheets." You're doing what? You know? It's like, it's quick.
No.
It's a sunny day. And I'm like, I am going to die.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not going to do that. Moving forward, we are not going to do that. Thank you. We're not.
It reminds me of a story I read. If you're looking for a good book recommendation, The Hotel at the Roof of the World. It's about the Holiday Inn in Lhasa, Tibet. And that was exactly this executive comes from London, studied in Paris, was from London eventually. He went, got a job in Lhasa, thought it would
Okay.
be a tremendous experience to go to Tibet. He had his mind set for like 5-star service. He was wanted to be like, in the Ritz-Carlton world and luxury. And he ended up in a Holiday Inn in Lhasa. And as he pulled up to the hotel, that's exactly what he saw. It didn't snow. I don't understand. As they're pulling up and he sees his white blankets well, it was
Blankets.
sheets,
Oh,
whatever.
like,
It
yeah.
was blanketing the lawn, I should say, these sheets, and that's how they would dry there. But Hotel at the Roof of the World, when you want a good laugh and
No, I definitely, now I have to
a
read it.
relatable story for
Yeah.
things that you've seen that we've all seen in hospitality, that'll keep you laughing for
But I have to tell you, like, I was
mortified.
shocked, like, because then I was like, "Oh my god, I just slept on those
There
sheets,"
you
you
go.
know,
Like
like,
what kind of bed bugs were
what the,
crawling in
you
there,
know?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and especially I still remember the cat walking on top of them. So yeah, but that
That's a
was
visual. Yeah.
yeah, still I'll never forget
Of
that.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
that was unique.
I'm so thankful that you came. This is now again a full circle moment. I'm very thankful you took the time to do this podcast with me. Any parting thoughts as we wrap up this podcast? What has hospitality meant to you? What are some of the key touchstones that you find have fortified you, your personality, your life in this world of hospitality?
So after all these years and all these experiences, I can tell you one thing. This is the best industry in the world. You are actually working in an industry where you're touching so many people and you're making them better. You're creating memories, incredible experiences. And I'm really, really grateful that I stumbled upon this and kind of just kept going
Thank you, Valentino.
because, exactly. Thank you, Valentina. Bless you. We love you wherever you are right now. Um, I think that this was a true calling for me because I would never see myself, and I don't see myself in any other industry. I love doing things for people that it's gonna change their life. Like I love to give them advice on where to go, what to do, and it's always been like that. It's always gonna be like that. So hospitality, number one, the best industry to be in. So new generations, like keep studying for this. You know, we need you. um, Teaching people about this, and kind of trying to change people's perspective on in the industry, how difficult and complicated it's not, how exciting, full of opportunities it actually is. And till the end, or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm going to open a hotel one
There
day.
you go.
Maybe that's the
There
thing.
you
Like,
go.
find that little hotel somewhere that it's going to be like mine. I'm going to make it, exactly like I want. I think that's going to be that's in my back of my head, but definitely the best industry to be in.
What a fantastic way to wrap up this podcast. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for honoring me with your
Thank
presence and the
you.
stories you told. They are going to go around the world. That was a lovely summary of our dynamic industry. Thank you so much for being here.
Wonderful. Thank
Guys,
you.
continue to tune in on Hospitality, the #1 podcast in the world. Until the next time, safe travels.
Bye.